Hello everyone, I'm PandaLemonTart, and a few days ago I built a suburban house, and many of you suggested that I should make it into a town. And then I decided that I'll add to it bit by bit, and today I'm making an eatery of some sort. I made you guys vote on what type of eatery I should make, and the majority voted for a bubble tea store. So that's what we're going to be building today. We have to delete some fences to make space for our boba shop, and I was sold on this space right here next to the bus stop. Our boba shop is going to be 2 stories tall, but I quickly realized that it was too simple, so I added a balcony at the back. I was going for this hooded design that I see often in cute cafe builds, and it wasn't going well. Eventually though, I found the perfect shape for it, this display case right over here. It is pretty unconventional, but we're going to make it work. Afterwards, I added a slanted roof to balance out our rounded improvised roof on the first floor. And I even decided to be bold and add some brickwork because I was convinced they were the secret recipe for fitting into this suburban town. I also envisioned preppy teenagers sitting next to a half-open window while sipping boba, so I tried to make my own half-open window, and sadly it didn't work out. Enter sunset windows to the rescue. The top sunset window has a glass, and the bottom is just a frame, therefore creating an illusion of half-open windows. My desire to match with the suburban house next door caused me to want to add some greenery, and compact bushes did not do the job, but potted vines have never let me down. I also added a splash of purple to complement the yellow walls, and after literal hours of building, we can finally focus on the inside of this build. And I don't know why I keep making it so hard for myself, but this is our kitchen and our toilet, and yes, they are very minuscule. To make up for how small they are though, I wanted to have an open floor plan for the rest of the build. I realized that our staircase area is very awkward looking. I mean, look at this. Now that's better. I tried to match with the outside and went with a pale yellow wallpaper with pink tones. I was also obsessed with adding a structure on the ceiling of our counter area, and I spent about an hour on this, and all it did was give me a headache. And just when things seemed all lost and hopeless, I finally succeeded. However, my happiness was short-lived when I realized that our structure was sticking out on the other side, so I had to do some patching with basic shapes and evened out the floor. My idea for the second floor was to have this little trendy alcove where I can put more seating, and the walls were not agreeing with me, so I had to improvise with plain wide pillars, and then rounded them off with even more pillars. Here you can see how torn I am in terms of our Boba Cafe's aesthetics, whether to keep the suburban homey vibe or try to achieve a more modern approach. And I asked myself, would boba shops even have these curtains? No, they would not. So I chose to use these shutters instead. Then I thought of more ways the boba shop could look more like a boba shop and decided to add these really hip neon lights. And later on I added these really hip, never knew they even existed, chairs. Now let's go behind the counter. And can I just comment on the slushy machines? Honestly, they are so validating. As a boba store owner, it made my business feel so legit. Another thing that made my business feel legit was the clutter of unwashed dishes. So there's that. Again, I had to brainstorm on how I can make this place seem like it would be a teen hangout, and I thought a nice board of posters and kind notes would do the job. Not to mention I finally got an excuse to use these heartstring lights. Quickly moving back upstairs, I wanted to focus on our little alcove, and I added some cozy seating for group hangouts as well as a green wall at the back. And I had to texture the pillars grass for it to have a fuller effect. I invested in a jukebox because I thought it would be a good mix of the old style and the trendy style. In this build, I made the expensive decision to add laptops once again since we want the teens to have study sessions here. And moving on, I thought the staircase were looking a little lonely, and I became desperate to find something to fill up the space with. I found this crate. I added more crates. I stole vines from the outside to put on the crates. I spread this improvised sculpture on the second floor, and that, my friends, is how I filled the empty spaces of our boba shop. Also, let's not forget the pretend milk jugs. Was I worried that this was going to ruin the overall aesthetic of our shop? Yes, but I kept going because it's an even worse crime to leave an empty space in a build. This is the part where I thought our tables looked a little boring, so I spiced them up with some structures, and it worked out pretty well. Halfway through the build, I totally forgot we had a balcony, and I didn't know what else to put in there, so I put in a lone chair. Yeah. On a high note, we are finally putting our fences back. Mind you, only for us to delete them again next build, but that's okay. That's how we do it. The Panda way. And I also forgot we have this little corner where I intended to have an additional entrance. It looks lonely, so I added a utility thingy to make it look useful. Focusing on our garbage disposal area, I wanted to make our boba cafe look like it's booming in business, so I added extra chairs just in case we run out. And I had to add some high chairs because I didn't want to discriminate against babies. This is a safe space for everyone, for ages 0 to 100, okay? But what if there are 101? I digress. So I added some milk cartons because I'm obsessed, and it was important for us to make this build look like it's a part of the original build. I incorporated bushes, as well as plants from our suburban house next door to make our boba shop feel welcomed in the family. I dreamt of having these signs at the front of our store urging customers to come in, and I made this with a photo frame, resized it, and put it back to back, and it works pretty well. I was torn between having a large poster or an easel, but we used an easel in our last build, so we're just gonna use the pretend large poster this time. I will admit, after this I thought I was done. I forgot we had a whole kitchen and toilet to furnish, and I didn't want to overcomplicate things, so our toilet is just gonna be one single stall. But don't worry, it does have a sink and a mirror. With our kitchen, it was so small that I had to make the counter a double-decker to add additional space. Over here, I was going for a cup dispenser. I could have put in more effort, but it'll do. So to continue with the busy shop illusion, I wanted to put some takeaway bags. This is our little packaging area over here for anyone who wants to order instant boba. And of course, if we are packing deliveries, it means we need a vehicle to do the deliveries. Isn't this the cutest color for a moped though? Because this is a milk tea place, of course we're gonna need a lot of milk. This gives our build a pop of realism. I also wanted to have a selection of desserts in our menu, and don't mind how I'm placing these cakes. I was just trying to get them to face the front. I thought I'd have enough in my fridge to complete this, but I was wrong, so I had to make more. While I left this one baking in the oven, I prepared our next treat. And it totally came back to me that baking now takes minutes in Bloxburg, so I had to go to the closest available oven. In our good old suburban house, let's go! It's nice to be back. After a couple of back and forth, I finally completed our dessert collection. And now it was time to make our speciality. Bubble tea! I got this from Kyrex. I will link their video down below. Basically, I used a top of salt and peppers for the pearls, and I added orange juice or any other beverage on top. Lastly, I used a rod for the straw with the help of a basic shape and put that all together. And I repeated this with the grape juice over here, and this is the finished product! And then I found out how to quickly do it by placing the cup in the middle of the pearls, which resulted in excited little jumps. And then I just repeated this with the other tables. Lastly, I added my newly made decals and waited for them to load. And now I can finally show you around. I am so excited. I present to you our Boba Cafe, located in a quiet suburb on Maple Street. Look how cute it is! How are we liking the decals, guys? I will link this down below, or I'll put like the decal codes over there. Look at it, so pretty. So going inside, we have this nice view, and then we have this study area where I'm having my moment over here, as I do with my boba tea. Moving to the sitting area, please don't mind the anime stuff. They removed my decal posters and I had to resort to that. And this is our counter. I think we really achieved that trendy look, and we have our menu over here that shows you the boba flavors. Keep in mind that boba isn't actually in Bloxburg, so it's all pretend, okay? So don't get mad if I actually don't give you boba. But going to the bathroom over here, very small. I put a green wall over there, I forgot to mention. And outside, it's a vibe, you know. I don't know what else you do here, but you know, it's all pretend. And going upstairs quickly, this is where the magic happens. The group hangouts, the study sessions. The study sessions that we tell our parents, but it's actually a vibing session. Yes! And going outside, it's pretty boring out there. But at least, you know, we finished this build. It took a while, but we finally finished it. Our Boba Cafe. That's a wrap.